the floor
You can-
and that to approve the current agenda. I'll now call that. Is there any objections to the approval of the agenda with? Any abstentions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes to approve the agenda. We will now look over our previous meeting minutes. Damn.
That was Stephen.
Stephen's so.
Even what we call AI.
All righty. Is there a motion to approve the current, previous meeting minutes?
So moved.
Okay, we have a second to it.
Second.
So moved it.
So
I would just motion.
you asked for the motion, I moved it for
Okay.
my sake, so.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Do we have a second to that? I was like, Will, just.
yeah, seconded by Will. So
Second by Will. Awesome. Do we have any objections? Any abstentions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, guys.
Did you get your book?
Kind of something nice. I was like, we have no need for introduction, Dr. Will Simpkins, who's always joined us happily. So thank you for coming here today. I'll now leave the floor to you as well. So the floor is yours.
I have always happily joined TSAT, even when you have subpoenaed.
I don't remember.
Just kidding. I don't think you have subpoena power.
We know, but
We have like,
Yeah.
we have like faux subpoena powers.
Okay, all right,
We ask you.
we asked.
all right. If you ask, I shall appear. I do have some updates and Stephen shared 3 topics. One of the topics were housing supports. And Taylor is here to address that. He does have a competing meeting, so I told him I would let him go first. And then I will give you updates on workday, training, staff, and I have some updates on our immigration enforcement protocols as well. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
So I think it'd be helpful for both Taylor and I to hear the question of sort of what are your thoughts or concerns around the housing? It was something about emergency housing procedures, given that, yeah.
I've been working with the other 2 student governments on campus to talk about emergency housing and just like try to inform our perspective on it and maybe give some input. I know that MSU has some sort of thing where if a student's in crisis, they can possibly get a room for a couple nights or something at the hotel. I've heard about this from the whispers. It may have been directly from Taylor. It's just been a while. I don't remember. But I would love to hear like, what is our strategy on emergency housing when students are in crisis and they come to us? What's our strategy on like finding them stable housing and sort of that sort of side of things, as well as just students we have that are currently houseless. How is that going to interface when we do have dorms on campus? And I think we're shaping up to now have 5 buildings on campus that have either housing for students or workforce housing or the hotel. That's like 5 total.
Yeah.
So just.
Hello, everyone. Taylor Tech, AVP Dean of Students. So it's a complicated question. So I'm going to start with the first piece. Where are we in the housing development for MSU Denver specifically? Right now, we're sort of out of that transitionary construction phase and into program development phase. So if you've been seeing the buildings going up, a floor a week right now? So it's happening very, very quickly. Back in December, we welcomed our new Executive Director of Housing and Residence Life. His name is David McNabb. He's a lawyer by trade. So if anybody's interested in that, he's a very good person to connect with. So right now, we are really just developing the program. So some of these questions, some of the answers to your questions, Guy, we'll know a little bit more come fall once we actually start to develop the staff and we build out the program itself. But I can answer where we are today and where we're sort of visioning that we might be able to go. Feel like a fair place to start? Okay. So what you were referring to, emergency stays in a hotel, is actually something that already exists inside the infrastructure of the care center. So let me walk through what they already do for students who are experiencing these situations. They do individualized referrals for student-friendly housing options. So we have an associate director level staff member inside of the care center that works specifically with anybody who's unhoused or navigating public benefits to help get them connected, but also reaches out to some of the apartment complexes that market themselves to students. And so we have a relationship with them. We try to understand what their program is and how we can support our students in that space. They are independent from the university, so we cannot control what they do and we cannot prevent them from doing something. But what we can do is help advise students on which ones treat students best. And that's exactly what we do and how we try to coordinate with them. We also do connections to community-based housing support, so providing education on low-income housing, tax credit properties, and other housing supports like housing vouchers or project-based vouchers that we're aware of. We used to have a pretty dynamic relationship with the Denver Housing Authority, which continues to exist. They're going through some change right now, so we're navigating that with them. But we try to make sure that folks know, students know, what supports already exist into the community, and we do a soft pass off with our relationships in the community. Kind of a sub portion of that, often folks who are navigating housing insecurity are navigating some level of food insecurity as well. So we also try to think about our case management services for this as broadly as possible. What are all of the barriers that are preventing a student or that has them in the context of being unhoused in this particular moment? And we try to make sure that we educate them on what sequence to move through these processes so they don't sort of end up in the same places over and over again. We also do referrals to community-based eviction prevention resources. So at one point about 3 years ago, when we still had some of our HERF dollars, we were giving out over $800,000 in eviction prevention resources. And so we know it's a pretty direct need for our students. We try to support them both with the things that we have internal to the university, but community-connected resources as well. And then, of course, the care center is there and exists to provide those ongoing case management needs, whether that's around job search referrals. Obviously, we have a dynamic relationship with the C2 Hub, and we help folks get connected in that space to find meaningful work, well-paid work, good internships that pay. We also do the basic needs support. So even though Rowdy's Corner no longer lives inside of the care center, it's still part of the health center, and we still do referrals and get folks connected in that way. And then we do have a SNAP benefits coordinator as well on staff who gets folks directly signed up for public benefits, which is great as well. Last, and certainly not least, is our emergency fund. So if individual students are navigating housing insecurity, or if they just have one payment to prevent eviction, they can apply through our emergency fund, which is all donor dollars, and then we can get that direct aid into students' hands so they can help prevent that. There are caps on those gifts, and sometimes those shift over time. Generally, they're between $1,000 and $2,000, depending on where we are, how much money is left in the fund at any one particular given moment. So that's sort of what's happening inside the care center. The future state for housing and res life. So it's very typical in housing programs similar to ours that a number of rooms are kept offline. And it's for the explicit purpose if there is a really intense roommate challenge inside of that housing experience where we have to co-locate people in 2 different places. If there's relationship violence, Title IX, sometimes we have to put something called interim measures in place, which requires us to move a party or both parties, depending on the circumstances. And these rooms will also provide us an opportunity if we have an emergency housing state for somebody that doesn't live in housing, that there might be opportunity for them to stay in these spaces as well. So that is one thing. The second thing that we already have on deck are housing scholarships. So the institution has already received a planned gift, and that's an asterisk, I'll come back to that, of about—
Person has to die first.
Yep, that's a measure. So it's a planned gift of about $10 million that we'll be able to draw down on for housing scholarships to support students who have varying needs, whether that's navigating housing insecurity or in general, housing wouldn't be accessible to them if they didn't have additional support beyond their financial aid package. So more to come on those 2 things, but those are some of the immediate ways we know we're going to be able to support and develop in our program specifically. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have. Yeah, William.
Real quick question. As for like the violence that may happen in student housing, I'm assuming the school is going to partner or work with the Phoenix Center, and when it's, I guess, relevant to bring them in.
Of course. So it's important to know the Phoenix Center, are folks familiar with the Phoenix Center? Maybe just a little not. They support victim support assistance. So that's an optional confidential resource for students who experience relationship violence, domestic violence, anything connected to their identity, they can help them navigate. So it really does have to be a student's choice to engage in that program, but
Right.
we absolutely make sure that they know that that's an option and refer to them to that space. Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so
Do you know what CU does with their, do they have a similar outlook on things with their 2 dorms they have on campus? Like with keeping some available for emergency housing and stuff like that as well, or do you know?
typically that's a common practice. The scope of what they may or may not do with that, I'm not exactly sure. So I know for certain it would be best practice in housing and res life programs to keep certain rooms offline for Title IX situations as an example. So I would say probably yes in that space. I don't know if they keep rooms offline for students that don't live in housing to help with their housing and security challenges.
And do you know if if there is any sort of plan for something similar to that with the workforce housing? To have some rooms offline for whatever purposes exist in that space?
Likely not, because they're, sorry,
All right, yep.
likely not because they're market rate rentals, or not market rate, but they are market rentals. And so the developer will control the workforce housing. I think it's about 150 units. That being said, we are still working with them on. So right now, the institution is doing a workforce housing study of our employees. And we're looking at, are there things that we could do inside that building? So one option is, do we want to rent a floor or 2 floors and make it available as a subtenant for our faculty and staff? So, but I would say the answer is probably no.
Oh, quick question, sorry. I just want to understand how it works financially. The rent goes to
Which building are you talking about?
the student housing.
So the
Yeah.
students will pay rent for that through their student account, so through the Bursar.
Okay,
And the revenue from that goes to support the building.
okay. Awesome.
So I think our pro forma says we don't break even until year 3. So we've got to pay back like the startup costs,
Yes.
and then we have the debt to pay off. And so then
Mhm.
any additional revenue, we have not decided where the revenue goes yet.
And that's managed by the school.
Yes.
School. Yes. Okay.
That guy,
Nice. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Is the hotel owned and managed by the school directly, or is there another person?
hotel is owned by the school, but managed by Sage Hospitality. So it's a contract. And if you ever want to know a lot about the hotel, I think Jim Carpenter is the chair of the hotel board. So you could have Jim come in and do a whole thing about the finance. I don't really even understanding how the hotel is financed, but yeah, very complicated. So can I pitch to the other topics?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll start with you. Thank you, Taylor. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Taylor.
So y'all asked about Workday. We're not yet at the point where screenshots of our system are available. We're still very much in the figuring out sort of the back end piece before the front end gets done. You can, if you're sort of just curious, on the main Workday website for the company, not MSU Denver, but like workday.com. They do have demos and stuff that you can look at to see what it looks like. I'm also asking, I thought that there was a student rep on the steering committee. Because my assumption was that shared governance was on there. So I'm going to dig into that and find out if there is a spot but not currently filled, I'll reach out or let you know. But what I am excited about, just to give you a hint, there's something called student journeys, which are basically checklists that we can preload. So a checklist on how to get ready to register, a checklist on how to do financial aid, a checklist on how to get a job. So it makes it more thoughtful about, if you're going through a process, exactly how to go through that process. The other one that I'm excited about is your academic plans will live inside the same system that you register for classes in. So your academic plan, how many of you have an academic plan?
Yeah.
That seems about right. Your academic plans are basically, the goal is you get here, let's say you're a freshman coming out of high school, you get here and you build a 4-year academic plan of what classes you will take in what semesters. And then every semester, instead of having to search, you go to your academic plan and say, yeah, register me. And it's like a 1-click registration based on your program of study and your transfer credits, right? So we're excited about that coming live. And then I think the interface on financial aid is going to be a lot better. The interface period is going to be a lot better. It's new and Banner is old. Thank you. You also asked questions about a new training person. There are 2 people that I know of on campus that have training in their job title. One of them is in human resources, specifically focused on training faculty staff on how to use Workday. And it was from the ERP system, the finance and HR system that we created that position. The other is in financial aid. And it is mostly focused on ensuring that our financial aid counselors are always, up to speed on new financial aid regulations. So that stuff changes every year. It's very complicated. So I saw in the notes that your question was, could that person help us with the Roadrunner runaround? And the answer is yes. And one of the things that a 2023 study of 2022 study of financial aid found were that the sort of students at the front line weren't always getting updates as quickly as they needed them. And so the training person is there to ensure that there is ongoing, pretty constant training happening inside that office. So short answer is yes, but taking on more than financial aid is out of their scope right now. But we are having some conversations right now about something called a one-stop model. And so imagine instead of having to go to different windows for registration, financial aid, paying your Bursar bill, you could go to one window. And that person sort of was cross-trained in how to help you with basic stuff on financial aid, basic stuff on paying your bill, basic stuff on how to get registered, find an advisor. And then if you needed heavier work, you could sort of meet with a counselor directly. So we're having preliminary conversations about what it's sort of changing the way we deploy services, what that could look like. I'm also excited about some AI tools that will live inside Workday that we can deploy to make things just happen faster. So instead of it taking 10 days for your transcript to be evaluated, it could take 30 minutes. And then the person who's been manually evaluating transcripts is spending their time on something that has more value, student-facing way. Right? Does that make sense? All right, I'll pause there before I go into immigration.
On the one stop, are you talking about the program one stop? Or just general concept of a one stop place?
General concept right now.
Okay,
like-
because I've heard stories about the program called One Stop
Oh, I don't know.
and it wasn't that great.
Oh, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I've worked at a campus with a one-stop office before,
Okay,
where it's sort of like all the customer service, student service functions of enrollment are in that unit. And then everything else is sort of behind the wall. The sort of operations and teams.
I'm assuming there's procedures to double check the AI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, quality control. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So you talked about how there's somebody training on Workday specifically where this AI integration will live. I know that, I just think somewhere to help with Roadrunner runaround would be faculty and staff knowing at least where to send you. Is that part of that training?
It's not right now.
Okay.
You're talking about sort of broadly for anything, right? For resources generally.
At least so they could send you to maybe the right building
Yeah.
or,
So right now, so I'll tell you, when I got here in 2018, one of the first things the faculty said was, there's a lot of really great resources. We can't keep track of them all.
yeah,
And so we've been trying to find a good resource that would do that for a long time.
Okay.
What we're aiming for is Workday, this is a little in the weeds, so forgive me, Workday Student is not a CRM.
Okay.
Right? So it doesn't have any communications functions.
Mm.
So we can't go into Workday and email a group of students and say, we received your FAFSA, come on in and let's do your financial aid. So you've got to get a CRM that lives on top of Workday.
gosh,
So that's like a Salesforce
Yeah.
or Slate, which is what we used when you applied for admission. So we're evaluating those right now. One of the functions that we want in our CRM is that referral system. To be able to say for like me, to say, oh, Emma's in my class and shared that she is having some difficulty navigating housing. Emma, housing, click. Emma gets an email. Emma, you've been connected to Abby Kell, who's our housing case manager. Abby would love to talk to you about opportunities, right? So that it's like, you don't have to
Yeah.
remember them all, you just have to remember where it is.
yeah,
So we're shooting for that.
okay.
That's my personal.
So that would be something you would like build on top of. That's something that you're hoping to retain this, well, I mean, maybe you don't know, but like this training person so that they could have, like a bug in their ear kind of
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
But like I said, the training person is, well, the HR training person is really solely focused on the ERP side. So
Okay.
that's finance and HR, not the student
Okay.
side. So
gotcha,
I'm not sure that they'll be in that space,
gotcha.
but we are all talking at the Workday Steering Committee for Implementation about the need for ongoing training forever. Because we're constantly hiring new people, new batch of students every semester. So we're gonna have to invest in that. Yeah,
Cool.
immigration.
Before that, the last person that I've spoken to about Workday student was Matthew Scott. Does that name?
Oh, yeah, the change leader.
Yes, change manager.
Yeah.
I read it, that's how change maker. So we have someone with the title change.
Right.
But no, and in December, he told me that they weren't ready for student government reps to be there
Okay.
yet, but they would let us know when.
Okay.
But if you'll, on the other end, look for us, too, I would love to know, because if we could get someone in that role for the summer too, so that we can continue to shape that through the summer, I would love to do that.
Absolutely.
Not me.
Yeah.
So, to do
Yeah,
that.
we'll pick that up. So on immigration. So a group of us had a meeting with Sky 3 weeks ago. Ish, yep.
Time's a little.
And it also followed Dr. Davidson and I meeting with some School of Ed students, one of whom shared their feedback directly with the president on the AHEC policy 7.8. And so that was really helpful for those two things to be at the same time, because we were able to see sort of a bigger picture. And so there were three pieces of feedback that we heard. One, there was a desire for AHEC policy 7.8 to specifically say immigration enforcement. We all understood that the inclusion of law enforcement in that policy as written encompassed immigration enforcement, but we heard many of you all say it's important that you actually say immigration enforcement in that. I'm happy to share Dr. Davidson has supported that and passed that feedback to AHEC with the university's endorsement that policy 7.8 explicitly say immigration enforcement. It's like a parenthetical notation about the types of activities that could be disruptions. The second were concerns about faculty not really knowing what to do if someone came to a classroom and presented a warrant, right? And so what we are committing to do is really this summer, starting now, reviewing all of our classroom safety materials. So the two big things are the red folder, which you may see in some classrooms. It stays in the classroom and it's where the emergency student resources are. And then there's usually a sign on the wall that's like tornado, active shooter, earthquake. I don't know what the third one is. About fire, tornado, and active shooter, I think are the big three. And so what we want to do is look at both the content of that red folder so that we're providing just-in-time resources if somebody has questions, but also be more proactive about getting those materials out to faculty. So watch for the beginning of the fall semester on what a new sort of ethos in that space looks like. And the lead on that is Sharon Lawrence and Leanne Bakinski in the, Leanne is our chief operating officer. The third were the desire for essentially mass campus communications if immigration enforcement were to happen on campus. While we cannot sort of agree to that in a blanket statement because every situation is a little different, what we're going to do is write into the JSSP badge access protocols, which are / immigration something, a specific call out that every situation we will go through and evaluate what level of communication was this situation demand, with a value of communicating as widely as we can. But I think in our meeting, we talked about, our first duty is sort of do no harm or don't create more violence. And so depending on what's going on, we need to look at that. We don't want to guide people where we don't want them to be. The other is sort of like, if it goes out through email, because there's not a text function, the rave alert is very specific about what it can do and what it can't do. So if we send an email, we know how you manage your email. And so I just imagine like the online student who lives in Brighton, who gets an email 36 hours after it was sent, has no context, and is now in a panic that something is happening. And so we want to be really thoughtful about how we communicate to both get information out, help people be safe, and not create more drama and chaos in there. So those are the three sort of big pieces of feedback we've heard and where we're going. Jeez,
It's always me, I'm just.
that's all right.
On the revising the JSSB shift to badge access only protocol, I think
Yep.
it's like that, that's a short name. of
Yeah, that's very short, yeah.
The line title. That is, I'm imagining Gregor's very involved in the revision of that, and do you know the timeline yet of when we expect to have that signed?
Well, it's not really a
Or
sign.
approved by Leanne, essentially.
Probably, I mean, she's already given her blessing. And so it's just a matter of writing it into the document, and it being there.
I asked timeline because I'm looking for like an opportunity for input, essentially, once we have more language on it.
Oh,
So like an opportunity to be a co-drafter, or, to have students involved in that. And so I'm hoping that like, it's not just like, it's going to happen. I'm hoping it's like, we get to sit in a room together with a student and Gregor and someone who's, either Leanne or someone in that sort of area to talk about like, what does communication strategy look like? And if we are writing this, let's say we have 3 tiers of communication strategy, I want to like go back and forth and talk about what does that mean, ask questions.
and I don't think our intent is to be specific about having tiers or even listing every possible way that we can communicate. I think it's more about, these are our values. We will evaluate every situation independently and make a very, like, a quick decision about how we communicate in that situation. So it's the way that I wrote it, because I wrote it, it was one sentence that we would put in there, which is a flag for, yes, every time this happens, we will have someone will, Andrea Smith, will create the communications strategy in this case. But I hear you on the co-draft. And so I will talk to Gregor, sort of as the caretaker of this, and potentially have him come in so that y'all can wordsmith a little bit. Yeah.
On the thing that Leanne's office is working on,
The faculty resources.
faculty resources, and I think it's reevaluating all of the safety in the classroom sort of protocols and things. Is that like a summer project? Is that like a now thing, or like what are we looking at? And is there opportunity for like, once again, like code draft?
Yeah,
Like
I-
back and forth, like one
will
person?
talk to her. It would probably be something that over the summer they check in with folks on. Right now they're looking at, can we put a QR code to the classroom emergency protocols that live on the AHEC website? And add some additional language to that. Can we put a QR code in the red folder? And so I will encourage Sharon to be participatory with all shared governance, because I think faculty, senate, and council chairs would have a perspective as well. And I appreciate that reminder.
Gosh. I hear this from you, and I've heard this from a lot of other places, that the rave system is designed for one thing, and it's like, I imagine federally funded, and that's why.
It's not federally funded, but it's a
Federal
policy.
required, or some sort of thing it's required at some higher than us level.
Yep.
That's what we typically use for text messages. I will say, I received text messages from MSU Denver from like Rowdy Bot. And I imagine we have other pathways of sending text messages through the MSU systems. I'm curious, have we thought about acquiring a way to send mass text messages?
Yes.
I know that has a cost assigned to it. Has the AHEC, and you're not AHEC, but have you heard of AHEC thinking of acquiring some sort of system separate from Rave? To
No,
be able to send text? Is that even something we want? I don't know.
we don't want them to do.
Okay.
We want them to be the mainline communicator on things like health and like rave alerts, true emergency alerts, right? There is an active shooter case, there is a gas leak, there is something emergent specific that falls under the federal policy of notification. Or communicating with people who have parking permits and things like that, right? But in terms of your experience on this campus, your institution want to be your primary communicator. We do have a couple of individual systems that text for very specific things. The other part of it is every time we use that thing for something else and broaden the scope, every time we send a text, a group of people unsubscribe. Once you unsubscribe, we can never subscribe you again. And so we have to be really thoughtful about what we text and what we don't text, because we don't want people to just be like, oh, I don't want this, and unsubscribe. So the rave alert, you cannot unsubscribe from. which is why it's got parameters around what it can be and what it can't be. So we are looking at comm stuff. We've heard everything from an app that we can do push notifications through to a more robust text system, AI, of course, RowdyBot is AI, but even a more agentic AI than just a chatbot. So we're looking into it. The CRM that I talked about with Workday is part of that. The one stop is part of that. Like, how do we actually communicate with our students? It's a big thing. Have I told you about Bertha?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like Bertha, right? Like Bertha is an example of one stop, where it's a phone line that you can call, and it was pretty effective at understanding what you were trying to say. Although they never understand my accents. I don't know why. Southern bias, maybe?
Mr. Boats? Quick question. So we're talking about Workday. I was just thinking, what about trainings?
Yeah,
I'm sure this was discussed at some point. Training faculty on
Workday.
on how to respond if there is an emergency.
Well, when we talk about the classroom safety protocols, that's
Right.
the faculty piece.
Mhm.
There are no, some of you are student employees, and so you probably get the same 6-hour
Right.
online trainings that I get. What we do now is periodically there are safety notices that go out to faculty. So the Clery Act reporting, things like that. What we don't do is sort of a first day of the semester, everybody gets an email, reminder, these are the safety precautions in your classroom. There's a website that lives on AHEC that has all the different sort of if this, then do this. And then there's resources in the classrooms, but we never tell faculty where to find those resources. So when I say looking at it, I would say training with a small t.
Right.
Not like put 1,000 faculty in a room and make them go through a training for an hour or even click through an online training. But how are we communicating the resources so that both proactively, if somebody's got concerns, they can find it. But then more importantly, in that moment, when you need those resources,
I know.
it's easy to find and easy to follow.
Right. Okay.
Sort of like when you're stuck in an elevator and there's instructions on what to do if you're stuck in an elevator.
I've heard the idea of doing a drill of the JSSB shift to Bradley's only protocol. I wanted to know your thoughts on a drill as it relates to that protocol, but also a drill as it relates to just like generally what to do with ice cups to campus. Is that something that would make sense to have a campus-wide or MSU-wide drill on something for 15 minutes?
I would say this, given the anxiety levels that already exist on this campus, I would not, to be honest, endorse that because I think people don't always get the message. And so if you're sitting in a class and you haven't checked your email and suddenly there's an ICE enforcement drill, I think that could be tough for a number of folks. I am so old that we did not have active shooter drills when I was in school. We had nuclear war drills.
Oh.
Remember nuclear war drills? You had to crouch under your desk as if that was going to save you from a nuclear blast. Right. But I have heard from younger folks how traumatic those active shooter drills are in school. And so I sit with that nuance. And then in terms of the JSSB drill, we had some practice at that during the spring 2024. Is that the encampment year?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
it was.
We had some experience. It goes pretty smoothly.
Okay.
Yeah. We locked the building down, I think, on 2 occasions. When badge access in the building, 2 occasions. And it's a pretty quick turn. But again, I will pass that message on to Sharon, particularly for the folks that have to do the actual press the button, send the message, communicate the thing. It could be useful. But on immigration enforcement, I do want you to know that AHEC leadership includes our leadership and all 3 institutions did what's called a tabletop exercise around immigration enforcement. So has anybody here ever done a tabletop exercise?
Maybe.
So it's sort of like you're sitting around the table and someone says, all right, here's the scenario. A student has just called the enrollment call center to report that an immigration officer is in their sociology class. And the student who answered the phone has let their supervisor know, and the supervisor has called ACPD. What happens next? And so you sort of game it out for 10 minutes. And then people report out and they're like, okay, so you chose this line of action. And then the facilitator is like, and now this has happened. So you go through like, and then this, and then this, and then this. And it's a way of making sure that people's minds are connected around what happens.
If there's any more questions, I know you have
I gotta get out.
like 4:09, so like, I'm not sure if you have any more time.
I have a 4 o'clock, but I can do one more question.
As it relates to drills, I don't imagine a drill is useful if you just send out a massive email to everyone. So the ICE on campus is the subject line. That's the drill. No. But I do think it makes sense if we do have protocols surrounding these things, at least having the people that are required to push the buttons do the drills.
Mhm.
Up into the point where like Andrea's about to press the button to send the email and doesn't send it or whatever. I don't know. But and I would love to know that those drills are happening and maybe even have like reports of those drills like available.
Okay.
To know like how long does it take us? And it's not that every situation's the same, but like to be able to see like based on a drill where one of the cogs in the system did not know the drill was happening.
Yeah.
And did their part and see what that looks like as like from like a safety perspective.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see that.
Okay.
But
I'll pass them feedback. That's good. All right. When is the last TSAC meeting?
we don't know yet.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, all right.
And,
What's our next thing?
Okay. Well, Danny left. I was gonna say congrats, Danny, for running an election. The rest of you who are coming back next year, I look forward to working with you, but I'll see you before you leave.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll now move forward with public comments. Sure, like we have anybody, but is there? I'm not sure. All right, we'll move forward with our own business with item A, a discussion for the last student government contact meeting. Conversation with her.
Yeah, I just put this on the agenda so that we could all decide when we want our last meeting, if we're gonna meet on finals week, and just have some discussion, see what everyone.
I think our last meeting to be May 18th. That would give us, I believe, 3 more meetings.
Okay, I see Emma, Will,
I was actually gonna propose that we don't meet during finals week and our last meeting will be the 4th. I know that, yeah. So that gives us time to work on finals, focus up wrapping up the year, give our seniors time to prep for graduation and all that jazz.
Will.
I do think it would be wise to cancel at least one of the meetings during finals week. Just from like what's happened before, a lot of counselors just can't make those one or either of those meetings and it ends up just not really meeting quorum or, yeah,
I have a
follow up.
follow-up for that one. Are you saying like we cancel one of the meetings, like being like the week of the 11th, being like that's for the finals week, and then having another meeting on the 18th? Or just cancel the meeting leading to that?
How we want to approach it is up to the council. I would say at the minimum, not being at one of the meetings during finals week. Either or.
Sorry, I can't tell.
People,
Our terms go through May 31st. And so my reasoning for wanting to meet a little bit longer than just the 4th, which would be next week, is that I think we have more business to bring. And I also think it makes sense to have a little bit of official time to talk about how we're transferring and leaving the next council too. And I think that's likely not gonna happen by 7 days from today. And so I would certainly be amenable to not having the meeting on the 11th because I recognize people have finals and that's a really stressful week. And rather just having our next meeting on the 4th and then our last meeting on the 18th. I think that if there's a couple people that are already planning, trips out or whatever, and you need to be absent, talk to accountability, or you can try to attend virtually, I think that makes sense, but I would really like to see us on the 18th. But like, obviously we get to vote on it, so.
So, Steffi?
Someone brought up this to me that housing is not available after the 16th. So our meeting.
So, okay, okay, so I'm gonna be able to be here regardless if I have summer housing. However, if you don't have summer housing, you will not be able to access your apartment or your dorm after the 16th. And that means some Metro students might not be able to participate, just something to keep in mind.
Definitely. Emma?
I was just gonna add too, I'm pretty sure like traditionally, maybe Dr. Rowe can correct us on this, but usually we don't meet when the campus isn't really open as much, like when students aren't in session. So I think that the 4th, even though it's soon, would be like as an official meeting, a good end date, because it gives us again the flexibility with finals, and then we're not meeting when students aren't here. I don't think that's necessarily representative of the campus.
Follow-up, Steph?
Yeah, I have a follow-up. It's like, if you look today, like, we don't have any students here that are not members of TSAC or part of TSAC. And so I don't think that just meeting in the absence of like having students here means we're not being representative of the students. I think we do work throughout the year to engage students, and I think that we absolutely could meet, and we could meet when students are not on campus for classes that day. And we could still serve the students in doing that, and we can still participate and further our mission. Also, I think there actually is a very specific line in the Constitution that essentially says that we will not meet when the campus is closed. But to clarify, the campus is not closed over the summer, and it's not closed on the 18th. The closure of the campus is like New Year's Day and the days between Christmas Day and New Year's Day, and a couple other scenarios as well. So it's certainly up to us, but I think we have more business to do, and I think 2 weeks of business makes sense.
Okay.
Also, just as a note, if we were to meet on the 18th, technically the 25th is Memorial Day and campus would be fully closed, so we would not be able to meet that day anyway. So technically, we would be having meetings all the way up until our term is over.
Dr. Sherman, and then.
Just for historical context, to answer your question, Emma, we have not, and Will. What?
That is my name.
So mom is.
Fine, that's
Will and Matt have been here. We have not traditionally met in terms of like the larger TSAC, like formal meetings. However, it doesn't mean that some of the smaller like subcommittees can't meet to wrap up their committee work and to please complete their transition documents that I keep reiterating, which I was going to mention in our updates that Matt created a simple form for. So that is what is typically happening during that time. It is not like a formal TSAC meeting. Once inauguration happens, that's usually like, it is time to like, for the new group to come on board, and the old, not old, the current group to start transitioning their documents and their folders and things like that. So that's typically how that has gone.
Maria?
I would like the council to note that we don't have anything on our agenda for the 11th, the 18th, or the 25th. The only things we have on our agenda is for the 4th. So I don't know if it makes sense to have our meeting on the 18th if we don't have anything on the agenda.
Scott?
Just to give a little bit of context on the agenda, because I've been the one who's made it most of the year. We typically don't have anything on the agenda weeks out. It's like it happens the week of that things get added to the agenda. I certainly have agenda items that I'm thinking about adding for either the 11th or the 18th meeting. Obviously, the 25th, the campus will be closed, so we wouldn't be meeting. And I imagine there are other people who have things ongoing. We have a lot of unclosed business we've sort of decided to do this year that I don't think it's necessarily been closed yet. And I've really looked to see it come to a close in a TSAC meeting, but at least report backs on like, this is what's happening. So that in our last 10 days of our term, we can finish up those reports and get them to the next council before June 1st. I think without having that one last meeting after finals, I think we would be robbing ourselves. And I think that's something that in the past, historically, TSAC has robbed themselves of. I think that previous iterations of TSAC did not do the best job at preparing the next council, or at least preparing things to like be switched over. And I think that's a pretty popular idea here. I propose that one meeting to help with that.
Emma?
I will motion for us to have our last TSAC meeting on May 4th to wrap up the 2025-2026 TSAC year.
Here a second.
I second that.
Second it. We have a motion on the floor. That one is.
I mean, it's debatable. I think we debated it on.
Seeing any no discussion, I'll now move forward with, is there any objections? Okay, any abstentions? All in favor, raise your hand.
Oh, that's, yeah, twice. Let me do that.
And Will shall abstain.
You want to vote, Will?
Will, are you
What
voting?
are we voting on?
It's the last meeting being on the 4th.
Yes, no, abstain.
Last meeting.
Yes.
No.
Here we go.
Last meeting on the board.
Last.
So.
The last.
He does.
No.
Doesn't matter. It passes.
It'll pass regardless.
Already, you think about it.
5 seconds to go and stay.
I'm gonna say yes.
So,
3-7.
all right, 37, motion passes. Our last meeting shall be on May 4th, 2026. Okay, moving forward with item B, full section 4, full business would be CRSP 2611, resolution to reconsider SGT presented by Sky Childress.
Hello.
Hello.
We have written a reconsideration to fix the deficit in the PR committee fund from a couple of different purchases. It is as follows. CRSP 26-11, resolution to reconsider the SU budget, authored by Matthew Rathbun, Patrick Severa, Sky Childress, Susanna V. Gomez, and Irby Powell. Abstract, this resolution proposes a mid-year budget reallocation in accordance with section 6.3 of the official budget guidelines and procedures. Whereas a motion passed by 2/3 during the April 13th, 2026 SGTSAC meeting to initiate a reallocation. Whereas section 6.4 authorizes the council to reconsider and adjust the previously approved annual budget when new conditions, programs, or developing needs arise during the academic year. Whereas the budget committee has reviewed the fiscal impact and confirms that reallocations can be made responsibly while upholding the principles of transparency, sustainability, and inclusivity outlined in the budget guidelines and procedures. Therefore, be it resolved that SGTSAC approves the following FY26 reallocations. 1, Sustainability Committee Fund reallocated from $6,720.45 to $6,292.68, a change of negative $427.77. 2, PR Committee Fund reallocated from $14,644.83 to $19,040.72, a change of $4,395.89. 3, Accountability Committee Fund reallocated from $1,500 to $0, a change of negative $1,500. 4, Leadership Development Fund reallocated from $5,117.90 to $5,114.90, a change of negative $3. 5, Student Org Allocations Fund reallocated from $10,353.32 to $10,169.85, a change of $183.47. 6, Internal Office Fund reallocated from $2,103.61 to $1,854.63, a change of negative $248.98. 7, counselor stipend fund reallocated from $82,725.50 to $82,725.26, a change of negative 24 cents. 8, TSAC campus event funding booster fund reallocated from $13,931.71 to $11,431.71, a change of negative $2,500. 9, student staff compensation fund reallocated from $16,519.50 to $15,949.56, a change of negative $569.94. 10, elections fund reallocated from $5,000 to $4,047.92, a change of negative $952.08. 11, rainy day fund reallocated from $500 to $2,122.65, a change of $1,622.65. Be it further resolved, this reallocation covers the previously approved but unallocated purchase of supplies for SGTSAC programming at Roadrunners After Dark. Be it finally resolved, the Budget Committee has approved this reallocation proposal with a majority vote. These reallocations shall be reflected in the official FY26 budget and will take effect immediately upon approval by the council by 2/3 majority during a meeting of the council.
Thank you. And since I am an author of this,
Oh, yeah, that's.
I'll hand it over to the OG.
Gee.
Yeah. Awesome. Yes, Sky.
I would love to present, if that's okay.
Of course. Please do.
Keegan, I have this mouse that I gave you a thing for. Oh,
Here you
beautiful.
go. Yeah.
Okay, we have the budget spreadsheet here. If you look at the sustainability, ooh, can you press the control button? Just hold it. Amazing. So this is the sustainability committee budget. So the things we have left for the year is to do a emergency student housing conversation that will be happening, will be planned in the next couple of days and be happening 2 to 3 weeks from now, before the end of the year. And then this reallocation that happened today, if it passes. For PR, we have a negative balance after projecting the amount we have for Stoles, after Roadrunners After Dark, that purchase has already been made, and after Food for Finals projections. This would be bringing that to 0, with all of those sort of already being planned. For accountability, we were taking out $1,500 and just making it 0 because that event that we had originally planned did not happen. For leadership development fund, we found $3 from a typo in the last reallocation. We
Nice.
figured we'd take it out, might as well. While we're
Yeah.
doing one, for student org allocations, there was an overage for one of the works we approved last round of org applications. This isn't from campus event fund. This is from like when they came and presented to us and had approvals. That overage was because of a price change for flights. Stephen did make the decision to go ahead and ensure they could still go on their event and cover that, but that left us with $183 to find. So we found that with this reconsideration. For the office fund, we'd initially planned to have $500 go towards refreshing the school supplies after Food for Finals. We've changed that to just $250, so that left us with about $250 to find, and we put that back towards the total here. For counselor stipends, because of all the changes, we found 24 cents. So go team. The campus event fund, we had reallocated around $2,700 into it, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. They closed the application and did not accept that funding. So we took 2,500 back just so they would have a little bit of buffer room. And so that's what that 2,500 is from. For student staff, after sitting down with Stephen, who manages student staff, we did find about $1,009. We decided to keep $500 additional in that fund just in case Stephen needs it and only take out the $569. So that's what's reflected on the paper here. For elections, Denny is done with elections purchasing and she left $952.08. So we took that out. For rainy day, we took all of the remaining after we made PR whole and we put it in rainy day. So that has an increase of $1,600. For the unallocated fund, did not change in this. Student housing, not changing this, auxiliary board, not changing this, wonderful. Those are all the funds.
Can we go take a quick look at them?
Yes. Oh, these are nothing. Also, can you press the delete button? Sorry.
We
Amazing.
allocated 2,500.
3,500, but we are only spending 2,500 because we're partnering with equity and student engagement and getting an additional 1,000.
I'd like to motion to approve this.
Okay, we do the motion, then we can debate it.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
I hear a motion. It's been seconded. Now we're opening up the floor to debate. As I see, oh,
I'll throw one piece of debate to
Okay.
encourage you to vote yes on this.
okay. Go for it.
In this, we have, after this reallocation is done, out of every fund, there will be nothing that's not currently promised in every fund except for the rainy day fund and $575 left in campus event funding. And so I think that is like, we did our job this year. We used the money given to us to spend to the students.
Mm.
It was actually more than we planned to spend, because we initially planned to keep 3.5%. We're sitting closer to like 2.5%. So I think that makes a really good case next year for SAB too, but.
Good
just-
point. Good point. Any other points? Any hands? No? Okay. As I'm going, do I hear a motion to end the, oh, you just, okay,
Ask unanimous consent.
okay, perfect.
Seen this.
Yes, there's no further debate. As for voting, I ask for unanimous consent. Any abstentions? Any objections? Awesome, that passes. Congratulations. All right, I will now hand over back the power.
There's no power here.
Okay, I'm turning the mouth off now. Thank
All
you.
right.
Actually, I might snag the mask.
Oh, for
It's
the,
not, you can turn it back on whenever Keegan says it's okay.
This is just really quick, just because I have to leave at 5 today. I have 3 tests tomorrow. Just want to let you guys know. And what am I doing? I'm sorry.
I motion that we proceed out of order to allow Dr. Huertas to present early.
I just want something.
Yeah.
Okay.
That needs to pass by 2/3.
That's my 2/3. Okay, is there any objections? Any abstentions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Go to you need still 5 minutes.
Just have a quick question.
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
We'll enter a 2-minute brief recess.
Okay. Body break.
Oh, Steven is at.
The black.
Grab that. I think Dr. Varela.
Where's he?
That's.
coming back.
African American.
Starts at 5.
Irving, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
have you not like?
Find your way.
That's fine. I don't, I think it's okay. I think. Some because the past, yeah, the past, but like because we kept saying, hey, can you buy this? It was okay on the past. For we. We probably get it back.
Oh,
I don't think we've ever done that. Banner.
Show up on.
we did. Are you getting more lucky
I wait
for the
for
concept?
about us now or something.
That's what I'm referring to. We haven't done.
Yeah, so never mind.
Are you kidding? And then we have one that can be free.
Just put it on there.
Yeah, we are considering the ones that you hang, the big ones. There.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Yes, I don't think those are like.
Gotcha.
There.
The flyering is done, so we should be good.
I'll just ask.
All righty.
Hi, Doctor.
Nice to see everyone.
Enter, I would like to introduce you guys to Dr. Puertas, who is our guest speaker today. Talking about on to coping with fear and anxiety coming up to college, their presentation and chat. So please take it away.
Yeah, I want to walk through here, but I don't even think I fit. I thought I lost weight. I'm like, I gotta go sideways. I don't think I fit sideways. But it's so nice to see everyone. So I am Dr. Lori Marie with us. I say doctor, not to show off, but for me, it's a big deal. I just officially became doctor in November. I love MSU Denver and I love all of our students because I can relate. I'm first gen. And when I was doing my doctorate, my mom and dad were diagnosed with cancer and passed away. And I dropped out of school and took care of them to the end. Almost didn't finish my doctorate, but my dad was like, promise me you're going to finish. So that's why when I say it, like I say it because all of you are capable of being doctors. I don't say it because I think I'm smarter than anyone. But and I think as my son got his doctorate too, he's captain in the Army. Like as he said when he did it, it's not that we're smarter, it's just that when we fall down, we get back up. And so anybody can do their doctorate. It's just a journey of a lot of sacrifice. So I just want to make sure because this is I've only been here for a little bit. I could tell this is a very bright group. I even was telling him, I was like, dang, I wonder if I should have made my elevated my PowerPoint. Because there's certain groups where I have it done a certain way, but he recommended I keep my presentation the same way it is. But know that I really look forward to getting to know all of you. Hopefully after this, like you feel free to reach out to me. I work full time in the Classroom to Career Hub, which is where our goal is to help you get jobs and internships, and to get internships where they pay you. I do strongly believe in volunteering, but that's the only time we should be working for free. Nobody should be working for free. So if you find an internship that you really like because you're passionate about it, please make sure you reach out to us. We have programs like Earn and Learn and other ways to try to get you guys compensated. When I was in school, I was not in the nuclear war phase like him, like what he was talking about, but I am definitely older than a lot of you. Our internships were unpaid. And I remember I had like 3 jobs trying to go to school, trying to do my internships, and we don't want that for you guys. You have enough on your plate. So I chose to do the presentation today on just overcoming the fears that we all have. Before you start college and then during the different stages for whether you're freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, different phases of fear. When you graduate, different phases of fear. When you become a peer, different phases of fear. But then how do we address that, and like what are some like resources? Definitely I'm going to share resources from the Classroom to Career Hub. And then I teach part-time as a professor, so I do have a faculty hat. So I will have an activity, and I know you have to go at 5, so that's okay, no worries. Like if somebody has to leave, but I do have like activities for you to work together, and I will have action items. So the icebreaker this is what I was asking him. I was like, are they gonna think this is corny or not? Like I can tell this is a really smart group. But he's like, no, they'll probably like it. So gonna put you guys in really quick, and this is gonna be you know what? I think what we're gonna do for time's sake, what time is it? There's no clock in here.
4:37.
4:37. I was gonna put you in groups, but you know what? I think we're gonna do this differently to save time, to be respectful for all the things you guys got going on. I'm going to take 3 volunteers that are going to tell us 2 truths and a lie, okay? And I do have 2 prizes today for the things that I'm doing. Nothing great, times are tough, but I do have like something for you to pick. And so I will do mine first, just to encourage you guys to do it. So 2 truths and a lie, and then if somebody guesses it, then you could pick a prize, and then we'll do someone else. I only have 2 prizes, and then we'll have to figure out how to do the other thing, or rock, paper, scissors, or something. Okay, so mine are. I am a certified Zumba instructor for Aqua Zumba, Zumba for Kids, regular Zumba. I am a grandmother of 3 children, and I went to Italy last year.
3 children. 3 children is correct.
Like,
You
this
look
is
very
the truth.
young.
No, she has 3
I'm
grandchildren.
supposed to get.
So, okay, so hold on, okay, hold on, let me go get my prize. Hold on, let me get my prize.
I'm like, you've told,
So remember, it was all the Zumba things, Zumba, Aqua for kids and regular Zumba. A grandmother of 3 grandkids, or I went to Italy last year.
I,
So which one, so, okay, I guess we'll, okay, raising, did you have your hand up? I'll try to go through this, did you? Go through it. So what, so remember the 2 truths or a lie?
That's her hand up.
It's the lie.
Italy's the lie?
Yeah.
think so.
Dang, it's that easy?
Yeah.
We can afford to leave the country right now.
Well, actually, I was gonna go to Italy last year. That is the lie. But I think you said, well, it's all good. It is a lie. So,
I know.
I feel bad 'cause now it's like a lot of people got it. So I don't know how to do the prizes.
Like, we'll just kind of.
Do rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, let someone other go, like maybe the co-chair. One of the.
Did you, so let's get someone else to do 2 truths and a lie and see who gets it.
Okay.
There's too many for mine.
All right. To go. Faye?
Hey.
I have had 5 concussions. I learned how to ride a bike this summer before 7th grade. And the longest job that I've ever held was 1.5 years long.
The last one's a lie.
The second one.
The middle one is a lie.
Maybe the
The
first.
second one, I mean,
The bike riding one?
Yeah.
I think that.
No, I feel like you're right.
Get a hand raised first, and so we can see who wants to guess.
Who thinks it's?
Yeah.
I think the second one is the lie.
Can you say the last one again?
The longest job I've had was 1.5 years. Like I've had the job for 1.5 years.
I question that too, though. I feel like you get tired.
Maybe the first one, did you lie about the number?
Yeah. I'll let you know that the second one is true. I did learn to ride a bike this summer before 7th grade, so that's wrong.
I'm gonna say the last one's a lie.
That's okay. The longest job I've had is 2 years.
Even longer.
So Will got it.
Will gets the prize.
Okay,
So I get a bag,
all right.
a gift bag.
Right, you can pick. We'll do one more really quick,
Oh,
bag.
so you can pick the.
I had in a book. I think I'll, can I?
Yeah,
No, he doesn't.
Brand called
He
you?
wants the book. He's a wise
I
dad.
think I'll take that.
No.
okay.
I like hats.
I see the.
I'm gonna wear my hat now.
All right.
Anyone else? Keegan?
Want to? Yeah.
Like really.
Okay. I have never broken a bone. I know how to kickflip, and I have 3 Hello Kitty tattoos.
The first
The
one.
second one.
The first one. The first one is the lie.
You never have? You have.
Never broken a bone.
That one's fine.
The lie's the 3rd one. I only have 2 Hello Kitty tattoos.
You do know how to kick it.
Okay,
No.
so we can do one more. You have one?
Prove it right now.
Yes.
Do a kickflip.
Anyone? Matthew?
So I'm the youngest of 4. I've climbed Mount Kilimanjaro and I have implants in my eyes.
Oh, have implants in your eye.
That's true.
Oh.
I need to change mine next time.
The first one. Last.
I've climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
No, not the first one, the middle.
Oh,
The first one is a bunch of fans.
yeah, I'm the youngest of 5.
Guys, right? This guy has a book.
Get a thing.
Book. Do you look at it?
That one.
Oh, okay.
You climbed Mount Kilimanjaro?
Get a book, yeah.
I figured it was that number. I was like,
Tanzania.
I was like, that's the easiest way to do a believable lie. You just kind of tweak a number.
Yeah, I mean, I
You
knew
have to stay
that,
with confidence, not go.
I knew that one was a lie though, like immediately, but I already have a hat.
You didn't want to win.
Imagine I get the hat in the book.
Yeah, you.
The brand called
I can fall down the stairs this weekend.
exception
Oh my God.
extras.
Is he fine now?
He's fine, but He always tells me I'm really clumsy and then he fell. It was really satisfying.
So,
That is
so on today's topic, and you'll have access to this PowerPoint. I didn't print out copies for everyone, but share it, send it to me.
It's on the agenda link.
And, oh, okay, good. And so I know you can't see it because it's kind of the lighting,
Bad
but
morning.
there is a picture of Bad Bunny in there. And I'll read the quote. I was gonna get one of you to read it, but it's kind of, I feel like I don't know if you could see it from far away. It's success isn't about the destination, it's about the journey and the stories that you collect along the way. And so I think in thinking of success, a lot of times we think of perfection, but sometimes it's the journey. And I feel like, in some of what Bad Bunny has done, he's showing that to people and that, it's not perfection, but direction. And so keeping that in mind. And so like I have some bullet points here and just thinking of the journey, like I was saying earlier, from when you go from high school to freshman to sophomore to junior to senior to graduating and some of the fears that come up. And so today I'm hoping that we'll talk and have some candid conversation and even conversation after as you reach out to me about any of those concerns that you have, which it's okay, because fear sometimes is just the unknown. And then sometimes to find out how to deal with it, you either have to confront your fear or get those answers. And I don't have all the answers, but I definitely can find them, or I'll find a way to find them. So. Sure. So I have some pictures there. My take on freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year, and then looking for your first job. And I know it says they're realizing your degree is worthless. I definitely do not want that to be the case with you guys, but just understanding that sometimes when things happen, like thinking of like some of my IT students that are stressing out because of AI, like, oh my God, now that I finished this degree in AI, what am I going to do with my degree? Helping all of you see and these students see the importance of transferable skills and a lot of assessments where you could get to know yourself as well and how can you still use your natural intelligence, talents, passions to do other things and use your degree. So before we go to the next slide, I will tell you about my journey real quick because I like to share it. Being first gen, my parents used to tell me just find a nice guy and get married. So I wanted to go to college and thank God for a teacher. So I was born in New York, raised in Puerto Rico, and then came back to the US. When we came back to the United States, I was going into my sophomore year in high school in Virginia, and it was a culture shock for me. I was the only Puerto Rican in the school, and I was bullied every day in the bathroom. And one time when I was bullied really bad, I was in there crying and a teacher came in and rescued me. Well, when I say rescued me, the people were gone, but like she at least comforted me because I was by myself. And she was the one teacher that really gave me hope about going to college because before that, my parents had said they didn't have money. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't even know how to find out how to do it. And so she helped me navigate that journey. So I think, us being that for other people and hoping that you find those type of people here at MSU, for me, it's really important. And if I can't be that person, me connecting you with a mentor is really important because I know you have yourself as a group and I hope you stay in touch even if you decide not to serve next year, because this is a good networking within here and there's a lot of great people in this room, I could tell, but just also knowing that faculty, staff on campus, that we want to support you as well, because I never want anybody to feel like that, And so I ended up going to college, thank God, got a scholarship and went to USC, University of South Carolina. Fun fact, Hootie and the Blowfish used to play on my campus when I was there. That was before he sang country, Darius Rucker. But there was like 20,000 students on that campus. There was no academic advisors. So if I wanted to find out what to register for class, I had to find a professor. You had to actually write a note on their door because there was no remote, it was all in person. And they were never there. And I was working and going to school because I was on survival mode. And so I remember that when it was time to register, I would just look for the classes and I would look at the catalog and be like, oh, that looks good. That looks good. So by the time I was a senior, they called me from the registrar's office and they were like, hey, good news. You have enough credits to graduate. You have 130. And I know this is a break group. How many do you usually need to graduate?
120.
120. So I was like way over unnecessarily because I didn't know any better. Nobody's helping me. And they were like, you have made 4 minors. So you have a minor in marketing, in education, in psychology, and in international business. So if you want, you could graduate now with what's called, I think here they call it something different, but interdisciplinary studies, kind of like I made my own degree. Or you could go for extra year and major in any of those. And I know many of you, the seniors in here understand, I was just ready to graduate. I was like already like working jobs. So I said, let me just graduate. So my bachelor's is in interdisciplinary studies, which until I had my master's, every time I had an interview, I had to explain what that meant because everybody like, what is that? What does that mean? It's not like the most popular thing. The positive thing is that I have used all of those 4 minors in my career. And so I say all of that to say, just going to our topic today with fear, is that I had to overcome a lot of fears even before that. So when I went to college, being first gen, not having family, not knowing what to do, just taking a job, living in a state that I was not from, being one of the few Hispanics there, I had to really just figure out like how to survive. And so I really tried to just learn and listen a lot and observe. So I did a lot of observing. And when I was a sophomore in college, so before I got that phone call, and this is probably why I wasn't making the best decisions when I was choosing classes. Thank God for the programs that Dr. Simpkins was saying that you guys are going to have with your academic. We didn't have that. No, we didn't have like somebody helping us telling us what to change. We had to figure it out. So my sophomore year, I needed a job. And back in the day, they used to put jobs. Well, back in the day, people used to read the newspaper. Not that they don't now. I'm sure people read the Wall Street Journal, but people really read the newspaper. And on Sundays where they used to post the jobs. So it wasn't like now where it's posted all over. I feel like you have a lot of more opportunity with that. Like you have Indeed, you have LinkedIn and all that good stuff. I didn't have that. So I saw a job in there that said, hey, we're looking for somebody that speaks Spanish, customer service job, has good customer service skills, and is willing to learn. So I was like, fourth thing, and you had to have a bachelor's degree. And I was a sophomore. So I showed it to my friends, and my friends were like, why are you gonna apply for that? You don't have your bachelor's degree. They're not gonna take you. I was like, whatever, I'm gonna apply. What's the worst that can happen? So I got the interview. And so I go to the interview and I get there. And does somebody need to keep time? Like, am I okay? Because I know you said you put me in front of somebody. 6 minutes? Okay. I'm going to tell you the story because I think this story is really important. And so anyway, I go to the interview. Thank you. If you don't mind, if you can give me like a 2-minute warning.
A little bit more too, Doctor.
I appreciate it, but give me 2 minutes. Yeah, because I could talk. If it was up to me, I'd keep all day and we'd order DoorDash. And so I went to the interview and the secretary's like, hey, sorry to tell you this, but the person that was going to interview you today, they didn't show up. So if you want to come back next week, it was a Friday, but I was one of those odd students that took classes on Friday, probably the only one on campus. And I had taken off of school. And so I was like, I took off of school. I had hyped myself up for the interview. I was like, sure, there's nobody else that can interview me. So they were like, you know what? Let me make a call. So they made a call and they're like, the vice president, he said he would interview you. Now, mind you, this was a distributor of Coca-Cola International, because Coca-Cola headquarters is in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was one of those huge buildings. So the VP's office was all the way at the top. But I was like, I don't even know if I have a shot at this job because I didn't have my bachelor's degree. And that was one of the requirements. So I said, you know what, let me just get this over with because I was already nervous and I was thinking, I want to take off of school and try to figure. So I go up to his office and I was sitting in front of him and he looks at me and he looks at my resume and he says, did you see the job description? And I'm like, yes, sir. It's like, did you see you're supposed to have a bachelor's degree? And I'm like, yes, sir. He's like, you don't have a bachelor's degree. And I'm like, no, but I speak Spanish and this and that. And he's like, He had like a poker face. And I'm thinking, this guy doesn't like me. This guy's not going to hire me. So he's going through the whole interview. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, God, this is a waste of time. And so he gets to a question that they used to ask a lot. And I don't know if they still do, but it's, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Before the interview, I had prepped myself for that question, but because the guy looked like he didn't like me and he was mad, like I blanked out. And I'm like, dear God, how do I answer that question? So I'm looking around his room and his office, and I see all these sailboats and stuff, and I see pictures of him like with his family on a boat, and then I look across and I see kind of like over there, but it was like another office, and it's like all like windows, like a nicer office, a bigger chair, and it's empty. So I say to him, is that the president's office? And he goes, yes. Again, I'm thinking I don't have a shot, so I'm like, what do I got to lose? I said, well, you know what? With all due respect, is that your MBA over there? He goes, yes. I said, oh, so you have an MBA and you're vice president? He goes, yes. I said, well, you know, in 5 years, I see you sitting in that office over there with all these sailboats and all these pictures, and you have different decor. And I see myself sitting in your chair as the youngest VP that you have, because I see you need an MBA. I'm going to do the accelerated, I'm going to graduate, do the accelerated MBA program. I'll be done in 5 years. And I'm bilingual. Are you bilingual? Oh, so forget it. The two of us, we're going to make so much money for this company. And he was so shocked that I was so confident and that the way I said it, like so believable, that he was like, And so I left there. I still didn't think I had the job, right? But I was like, all right, I had a story to tell my friends over a drink. I was like, okay, like we had fun over that. So I left and I got the call and I ended up getting that job. And I ended up getting that job over people that had their bachelor's degree. I say this with all of my heart, because if I had more time, I could tell you 20 stories in my life of things that I've done that people said I couldn't do, and I had to overcome fear. I want you guys to take those risks when you feel it in your gut. Like when you feel it in your gut, I don't care who tells you you can't do it. Try it, because what's the worst that can happen? You're going to be where you started off at. So then 90 days, I have to finish the story really quick. 90 days later, my boss at the time was giving me all his work, but I was so happy to get the job that I was doing it. I didn't realize he knew he was going to quit. And he was the only other person in the entire company that spoke Spanish. So when he quit, I said, I did it once, I'll do it again. So I applied for his job. He was manager. I was 19. And so I'm in there, a different person. It wasn't the same VP. And the guy is like, look, Lori, I know you passed your 90-day probation, but you don't have a bachelor's degree. You've only been here for 90 days. Why should we even consider you? I was like, because I know all the customers, because he was giving me all his work. And one thing that the guy interviewing me and no one else knew, and the guy had already quit, my boss at the time, was that we were waiting for a $30,000 order of Coca-Cola vending machines from Argentina. And nobody else knew about that order but him and I, and the other guy wasn't there. I was like, you should hire me because I could get you a $30,000 order right now. He's like, how are you going to do that? I'm like, call this number. And I had it memorized. It was 011 for international, 54 for Argentina, 1 for Buenos Aires, and then the 7 digits. So he dialed the number, and he puts me on speaker, and the guy's name I'll never forget was Rafael Mendoza. And I knew the whole guy's family because, again, remember, I had my role and then I had my boss's role. So in my role as customer service, I used to ask him questions. So I was like, hey, I'll translate for those that don't speak Spanish. I was like, hey, ¿cómo está tu hija? Your cumpleaños. So how you doing? How's your daughter? How's your family? How's your birthday? And so we're talking. And then I say, what happened? I never got the order for $30,000 in Spanish because the guy interviewed me didn't know Spanish. So in Spanish, I'm telling him what happened. I never got the order. And so he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll send it next week. I've been busy. And I'm like, no, you need to send that order like right now because you want glass bottles. And to put glass bottles through a vending machine, we need extra pieces. And if not, you're going to have to wait 6 months to get the parts. And so anyway, he sent them order in and I got that job. And so same thing, taking a risk, right? And because of that job, I was able to travel all around Latin America at 19. And so when I was taking the international business, one of my minors classes, I could actually participate in class because I had been to those countries. So I say all that to say, to take risk, that you just never know. Thank you so much. So we'll go through these real quick. I have 2 minutes. I do want to show this. So Classroom to Career Hub. in thinking of taking risks, no matter what year you are, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, we do have resources here at MSU Denver. We have our career lab. Those are the dates that you could go. We even have a virtual, Casey. We have a virtual option. And we have just a lot of opportunities for you to practice mock interviews. And then if you could go to the next slide. We have Quincia, which I know AI is not everyone's favorite, but it is an option for those of you that are open to it, where it could do a resume analysis. But in addition, we do have people that'll meet with you. So we have resume experts that'll meet with you one-on-one. You just have to make an appointment. We can practice mock interviews, which I actually love doing that. Can you go back to when I was supposed to, oh, you're fine. No, it's okay. No, you're good. And then LinkedIn profile, we could look at your LinkedIn profile and give you feedback. I also can connect you with a mentor, and our mentors are industry professionals. So they are companies, employers that hire students for internships and jobs. And I can connect you with them one-on-one and get them to give you feedback on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn, so that's not my duty, but I'm happy to meet with you because I'm that passionate about it. I've actually gotten like 4 job offers from LinkedIn that I wasn't even seeking. So I would love to help you, connect you with resources that way too. And the beautiful thing about all of this is that it's free. Some universities charge for this stuff. I probably have 1 minute now. What, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, so scroll down to the last slide. Okay, and I'm gonna read a poem. So I want to keep this, I'm gonna leave you guys with this today. Fear has 2 meanings, in my opinion. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. So research shows that when you face your fear, that that is one way to overcome it. And if I have more time after I take questions, I will give you another example of fear and the way somebody overcame it. But I'm gonna read a poem real quick. I love reading poems. I love writing. I didn't write this one, but I love this poem. And I have it if anyone wants a copy of it, but it's called Our Deepest Fear, which you may have heard it. So our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are created for greatness. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened by you shrinking so that other people, and I know this room is like pretty confident, but still, there's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine just the way children do. We were born to manifest our glory and everything that is inside of us. It is not in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So I want to keep that in mind because I know that your last meeting's on May 4th. I almost voted. I was like, oh, okay. But you know, even as you're done with school, whatever you're going to do over the summer, know that you bring a lot of value to MSU, each and every one of you. There's free resources, even for the seniors graduating. Very important to know. C2 Hub is here. Once a road runner, always a road runner. So even when you leave here and you graduate, you need our resources. You can reach out to us and we will help you. And definitely stay in touch for those graduating with alumni. And yeah, I think I went over my time, but not too much, right? I tried to be good, but thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, we do need to.
I had a face your fear activity that if you guys give me a quick second, can I do it?
Yeah.
I know.
Transitioning.
I think we should leave that up to the council. We are over time to where we might not be able to hear some of the things on the agenda if we take more. That's up to you guys.
Then
How does the council feel?
I would motion if the council's comfortable extending the meeting 5 minutes,
Yeah, but I mean, it's up to you. I'll wait for the vote.
5-minute extension.
That,
A second, okay.
is there any objections? Any abstentions? Motion passes for the extension.
Okay, so it's not 5 minutes, it'll be less.
Perfect.
All I need is 2 volunteers to open this box as part of the fear factor, and I'll explain it after the box is open.
Sure.
Oh my God.
My instinct was like, it's gonna blow up, but I'm like, she wouldn't do that.
So I just wanted you to overcome your fears of opening something and taking a chance with the unknown.
Valid. Just military in boxes, don't go.
If you guys ever want to borrow, it, let me know. That's
I'm like, she
awesome.
wouldn't do that.
Grand finale.
I'm like, doctor work is not suicidal.
That's great.
Always have to have a visual.
I like that.
I love how you-
Thanks for being courageous.
Oh, my God.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for being the
Thank you guys. Yeah.
poor guy.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Appreciate you.
I made it quick for everyone, so we can.
Thank you, guys.
You were like, "Ah," I was like, "Oh."
Awesome, thank you. That's fun.
You really leapt across the table.
Great.
I thought you were gonna.
Well, I wasn't even over we.
I felt like you were just.
All right.
There's-
Oh, I suppose to reconvene everybody. Back to order. Order.
Wait, who's minutes?
You're gonna be able to.
Taking minutes.
That's what I asked.
Clean it up.
Right there.
Oh, no, we don't need to
You
take.
can bring it back.
Okay.
Continue with our life.
See me,
That's homework, right?
You should have asked this.
Like,
I
then-
get into student government.
I'll wait.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay.
I have, I think.
Matt, you can please move forward with,
Right.
You should
Business
be.
training and transitions, directed with Matthew.
I'll just wait. I'll be
Is-
late.
You have to go.
Okay, this is the document that I created a form for the transitions, so it'll be easier just to like fill out little bits by bit. But I broke it down, so question one is you just select what committee you're making a report about, and I listed out all of the ones on the back of our agenda, including advisory committees and delegates. So delegates, if they have any updates, can also participate. But basically just select the committee, put your name, fill out all the accomplishments, and if there's any next steps, like anything that the next council should be looking forward to or be considering of, like then you put that there. Also open for any suggestions on how to modify this form if we still want to use this.
Guy, that's paper.
Papers, I've talked a lot.
Thanks, Scott.
I mixed it when you were scrolling over it originally, but do you have the ad hoc committees listed as well? Just thinking about like rush and run around stuff.
I have the training transitions. What was that one called again? Was it called the Roadrunner Runaround?
It's
There's the Roadrunner Runaround
That's the
task
first thing.
I was like, it's technically a part of the task force, or, yeah, a task force that's a part of sustainability,
But
but.
You could put other.
Thing that I had about ad hoc stuff, because there's.
Oh, and I do have an other.
Yes.
So
Put that.
if there is something
Write it in.
small and it's not connected to any of those, you can still put an update. Scott?
So my perspective on this is a little bit different. I think we need to have some way that we ensure that we actually all fill one out, which I think is sort of the idea of the form, is that how do you fill the form out? And you would like really ask people. But I don't think I'm gonna meaningfully engage with this form if I, because I'll have to fill this form out like 13 times. And so I'm going to write like a report that will have like paragraphs labeled for each role that I had instead, and like prepare an end of year report from me, what like the human that's doing these roles. And that's what I'm gonna offer as my contribution to the end of year reports. And if other people want to do that, and that's the way they feel comfortable doing the work as opposed to this, I would really love to see if we could agree to do that. And also, I would really love to see a deadline set from this conversation of like when you need to have your report to Matthew or something.
William?
I personally would like to see those reports, at least this version, done by the next meeting. I think something like this is reasonably done within a week. But again, I want to hear what the council thinks. As for the full report, I do think it should be more of an optional thing, for counselors. The longer report, if they choose to do it that way, I think we should accept those two.
Scott?
I would also be interested, especially since we're only gonna have one meeting in May.
Sorry.
I would be very interested in, making your last stipend payment contingent on you submitting a report, if it's this form, if it's whatever. Which we would need to vote to do that, but I would be very interested in that. Because I think that is your final month of service, is submitting this report to continue to the next year.
I was just gonna say that while I appreciate a longer report, I do think it would be nice to have this all in one spot so that the next year's council isn't surfing and sorting through stuff, or if they wanted to go back and look. I think part of this was like the idea that we don't have things floating around. And then additionally, I just know that people may have more or less to share, so I don't want to make it like, I don't know, like it's still make voluntary, I guess.
William?
So to address the first part of your concern
I
question.
guess I'm just looking, yeah.
Me and Matt are planning on like putting it all in one folder. That way we just, when the new people come on board, we can show them what their, what's it called? Not ancestor, their predecessor. Thank you. The incumbent, the predecessor, before them, excuse me, did and what they were working on, so they hopefully, carry that good work on. Or at least they have an idea where to start and carry that forward.
Where things went.
Keep building, right? So, just to address your first part, not the second part.
Steffi?
So I guess I have like a question, because it sounds like this is something that has to be filled out by every single council member. But then I'm wondering like how, like, because I'm wondering like, is there not gonna be overlap from people saying the same thing? Because for example, I'm saying PR, right? I'm like, I would have assumed that this is something the chair would have done, right? Like wrote like everything that we did, whatever, this and that. But then it sounds like every single council member is responsible to fill this out. So then I'm curious on like the overlap of information, I guess.
So different committees can do it as like the chair does it, just to make sure it gets covered, but it's more of trying to hit as many of these as we can. So if you were the point person, like I see you on SAB, so then you might give the SAB update.
William?
I think
Yeah.
I might find myself in agreement with Sky on that payment piece. We've had issues over the years getting people to fill those out. And because of that, we've had issues passing that information on to the next cycle. I don't think something like this form that Matt has up is unreasonable to do in a week. It's, again, if we're meeting one more time, I agree with Scott. The next big piece would be to pass this information on to the incoming cycle.
I agree that this is very reasonable to do. My only thing is that I know some people, I agree with Steffi that it might not be as effective if you have somebody just writing stuff to write stuff. Because then whoever's the next council, like, I guess I'll be here next year, so I'm thinking selfishly about myself. Like, it's gonna be more work for the next council to have to sort through, each individual, if people are submitting different reports and different things, like, instead of just having one concise, and I don't want to create more work for Matt or Will either. Like, it'd be just nice to have an overview. What did PR do? What did each of these bullets filled? And some people like thinking again, I guess about myself, I mean, I can fill out the SAB one, but hypothetically, if Steffi fills out SAB, Matt fills out accountability, and then I'm not filling one out because that's what I serve on. So I think talking about it is really effective, but again, I think having more concise instead of just having people write things to write things, it's gonna be more effective.
Matthew and Sven and stuff.
So the other thing that we can do is I left the name answers like I think you can type a paragraph in here if you chose to. You could write down more than one name for the report too. If you want to work on a report together.
Scott.
I'm gonna move, and then there's gonna be a lot of talking. That's all part of the motion. So I motion that, it is a condition to receive your May stipend for counselors or to receive your stipend payment for delegates, that you submit at least one report to the Training and Transitions Committee. That report being submitting this form, submitting your own report, some sort of report, by May 18th. With the expectation that everyone will have their reports in by May 4th, but the hard deadline of when you actually lose your stipend or your payment is May 18th.
Stephanie?
With the decision being made by the Training and Transitions Committee.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Debate.
Turn debate. That be at Anna earlier.
Yeah, I think like, for example, like, I think it makes more sense to kind of like, as like, for example, comedian, I'm just talking about PR, right? Cause I know we're gonna have like a lot of stuff to write on it. I think it would make sense for the three of us to include our names and kind of just like write it all, right? And I think that makes more sense to have it like a report style, but filling this out for comedians, and then maybe for like the advisory ones, the individual ones, right? I can see how like that makes more sense, but just a thought.
I saw Dr. Brown.
I was actually gonna say exactly what you just said. So
Yeah.
I just want to reiterate what
Yeah.
Stephanie just said, because I think that would be more helpful to the next committee, and it would be more inclusive of the actual committee, and maybe the chair helps lead it, or whatever, but that it's collaborative, and then the committee helps to edit it, look at it, and make sure, because there might be things that are missed. If the committee, like PR, for example, doesn't do it collaboratively, you know what I mean, or whatever one it is. So my vote would be to, and for documenting, right, of like who were the members of these committees,
Yeah.
the chair, and then the members, and then it's a collaborative venture like that you all do, or project that you do, but then maybe the more individual ones that you're a representative on advisory, whatever, that might look different. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I think Matt, I guess Matt's just showing us stuff.
So I am privileged. I motion to end debate. We have no time. We have negative time. There's a resolution to hear on the agenda as well as other things. I motion to end debate. This is on the motion that I made and seconded.
Second the motion that we made.
So now we have a vote on the motion to end debate first.
Okay. Is there any opposition to end debate? Is there any abstentions? All motion passes to end debate. We will now enter for voting. Condition, there's a hard line on May 18th to submitting this document or their own memo reports, whereas it is expected to have it submitted by May 4th, which will be on our last TSAC meeting.
I also want to include in it that it's the intention of the people making the motion that it would be, if there's any rule that prohibits it, it's a suspension of any such rule. I don't want there to be a constitutional question in the future about removal of the stipend payment. We're not doing this, do you?
I have a question. I know your original motion ended with something with a decision.
Oh, yes, and the Training and Transitions Committee, we get to make the decision. So in the absence of formal procedure, that'd just be the chair and vice chair.
Oh.
On whether or not you've satisfied by May 18th your report.
Yes.
I think I trust our 3-year alums to do that.
Okay. Is there any opposition?
Hello?
Any abstention?
Susanna?
Yeah, I've been trying to raise my hand and nobody
I even
noticed.
know.
Oh, I didn't, was she come?
All right.
Well, we're voting. I'm
Okay.
not sure, so.
Sorry, guys. I just had one question. I think
Oh.
for me, May 4th is kind of difficult because,
Unfortunately, I'll repeat it.
We're out of debate. We're in debate.
We're
We're
out
on debate.
today.
I will clarify for you though, because I hear the clarification you need before you vote is that the hard deadline is May 18th. The soft deadline is May 4th. So it's due May 4th, but your stipend's not going to be taken away until May 18th if you don't submit it.
Did you hear that?
yes, thank you.
All right.
So we have one in
Okay,
opposition.
we have one opposition. Is there any more? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes
By students.
by 2/3.
Awesome.
Okay,
Okay.
moving forward with item B of review of the SGP Constitution, like Matthew wrap up.
I'm gonna get kind of easy. I printed it out for everybody and highlighted the sections that were added.
Who doesn't have one? I can get mine up.
There's no one else.
Okay.
That's so.
Everyone has one? Okay, cool.
It's the concept.
All right. Go for it, Chip.
Oh, yes.
So to start, we had the amendment involving SACAS. So on page 2, you'll see that it says council members may. That would change from students
Mhm.
and will.
Yes.
Students will be.
Yes.
Then the second highlight on page 4. Continuing with the same amendment. Just references that council members who hold any additional roles of SACAB or trustee may choose to resign only those additional positions retaining their seats on the council. SGDSAC may appoint council members by simple majority vote as replacement to those positions. And then on page 5 is the last addition for that amendment.
Bottom.
Yeah, the number 4, which reads council members who hold the additional role of SACAB or student trustee could have those additional positions vacated but retain their seats on the council. SGDSAC may appoint council members by simple majority vote as replacements to those positions. So that is it for that. Then back to page 4. First highlight on that page is in regards to the stoles. So in addition, members will no longer be eligible to receive stoles when graduating from MSU Denver for not serving the whole term of TSAC. And then
That's. hold on.
on page 13,
Yeah. That's one.
very bottom of the page, and then also top of page 14, it just iterates, the advisors will be responsible for tracking council members who complete their term and granting them a graduation stroll, even if they've not set to graduate at the end of their term. The advisor will use the approved public relations grad stroll design as the standard design. And the advisors will be responsible for adding the year and name of the council member. The grad stroll design will be approved with a supermajority vote. And the one last thing.
Words.
I did not on those page numbers, all of them. On pages 8 and 9, you'll see the highlighted section that say guidelines, procedures shared with public relationships and sustainability. That's just the guidelines and procedures that they created to work together.
And it's reciprocal both ways.
And that is just a hyperlink to the actual.
PDF. And that is it, right there. Okay.
It's not really a vote thing, that's just what we did this year.
Is there anything missing you see?
Questions or anything?
Oh, seeing as there's none, seeing that it's all out for the board, we'll move forward with our new business. With resolution CR SB 2612, finals. Conducted by Ana Villa Gomez. Could be
Step.
Thank you, Stephanie. Please take it away.
All right, resolution to fund for finals abstract. The SGTSAC Public Relations Committee is committed to fostering a strong sense of community among MSU Denver students. To support student well-being during a high-stress time, the committee will host its signature event, Food for Finals. This event is typically hosted by the end of each semester to support students during finals week. This resolution requests funding from the Public Relations Budget allocation, continue providing students with breakfast, goodie bags, and wellness resources during final weeks. Whereas the Public Relations Committee of SGTSAC aims to create a supportive, resourceful, and engaging campus environment for all MSU Denver students. To continue this mission, the Public Relations Committee will like to host its signature event, Food for Finals. Whereas, as students are getting closer to the end of the semester and preparing themselves for their final exams or projects, typically, finals week is a period of heightened stress for students. The Public Relations Committee would like to support students during stressful times by providing complimentary breakfast, stress relief services such as massage therapy, and goodie bags to help them remain energized during finals week. Providing these resources align with SGTSAC's mission to advocate for students' needs and promote student success. Whereas funding for this event is available within the Public Relations Committee's budget allocation for the 2025-2026 academic year. Therefore, be it resolved, the Public Relations Committee would like to use a total of $3,450 from the Public Relations budget to fund the spring 2026 Food for Finals event.
Thank you.
Can I motion?
Yeah, you did.
I motion to approve this resolution. Second.
Okay, we'll now enter into debate.
Second.
Maria seconded. Scott,
There is the last whereas, funding for this event is available within the Public Relations Committee's budget. That is partially true. There's $2,500 available within the budget, not $3,450. And so I would propose that last whereas is, if it doesn't specifically serve a purpose, it could just be struck and it wouldn't actually change like what this resolution does do. I would also propose in that therefore be it resolved, there be mention of the partnership with equity and student engagement, saying that the Public Relations Committee would like to use a total of $2,500 for the Public Relations budget, with an additional $1,000 being provided through partnership with equity and student engagement.
Is that a motion?
I will motion that if it.
Okay.
then,
Yes.
Beautiful.
okay, it's ready. Is it Susanna? That Bradley?
I mean, what's it?
I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
However, Macy's not present and technically she would have to say yes because she's looking at the one bothering. So we'll have to vote on that.
All right, is there any, I'm just gonna follow its motion. Vote. All right, is there any objections to the newly added language? That's been stated. To add mentioning our partners and regarding the budgets, expenditures?
No order.
Yes.
Was that technically seconded or no?
It wasn't. Someone needs to.
I'll second it.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. So for that, this motion that I stated, and I was seconded. Debate? Seeing as there's no debate, is there any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes for the friendly amendment for the city whereases. Scott?
And then I wanted to ask our PR people, has any funding for this event already been spent? Have any purchases been made?
No, nothing have been made.
Okay, that's wonderful. I thank you for holding to that this year. I know that we didn't last year the best, and I'm glad that our PR committee did this year. I mean, last TSAC year, not this semester. I mean, literally previous administration.
Yes.
Critiquing last year's folks, not you guys. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you for that, and then, I'm very glad we get to do this today, so.
Yeah, we'll ready to just order.
Hey, we did resolution. We did resolution, let me clarify, we did resolutions, and we didn't pay for anything until it was approved.
So I was there, I was good.
Did we vote on this yet?
We have not yet.
Resolutions.
Yes, it was already been motioned and seconded. We're in debate. Then we enter into another motion.
I motion to end debate.
Okay, cool, fantastic. Is there a second to it?
Second.
Thanks, just get out.
Okay, is there any opposition to end debate, to end debate? Okay, any abstentions? Okay, motion passes end debate. Is there any opposition into the approval of CR SB 2612, resolution for group of finals? Any abstentions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Hey, we have 6 minutes for announcements updates.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we already.
Oh, well, I already talked a lot earlier, so I feel like I said what I needed to say, and you all proposed something and have a timeline. We have a last meeting date. Those were the big things. Just know that part of the transition, Stephen will be meeting with the new counselors coming in, providing them an orientation type meeting. And then we are looking at scheduling those dates for the summer for when we will be doing our leadership development trainings with them. And that's it. That's all I got.
I have a question, Dr. Ferran.
Yeah.
Taylor Tech had sent us a email regarding the update on student engagement, well-being organizational structure.
Yeah.
Is that something that we should expect next meeting, or is that something that you can elaborate?
Wait until next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's wait until next meeting. You all don't have that much time, so we can talk about it a little bit next week meeting, and then, yeah, it really is, yeah. Let's kick that can out.
Okay. Shannon and ad hoc committees? Okay.
Yeah, from sustainability, we had a successful, Know Your Rights Legal Observer training. We partnered with, Students for Democratic Society last week. Time is so bad. Time was last week. So that was a success. Additionally, we will not have our final report from the task force to investigate the road around by our last meeting, given it is 7 days from today. It will be ready and it will be shared to the full council after our last meeting. So it'll be probably sometime the week of May 11th, sometime during finals week. It'll be sent out to you guys if you guys want to review it. And then it'll of course be there for the next council. There will be sent in the TSAC chat in the next couple of days, time and location for anyone and everyone who wants to come to a conversation about emergency student housing among student government leaders. You'll all be invited to that. Sustainability is sort of co-hosting it. That'll be happening in the next week or so. Not compelled to be there, of course, but if you want to show up, you're welcome to. So that's my update.
Thank you.
Stephanie.
I can give out some PR committee updates. So this Wednesday, it's happening, the Roadrunner After Dark event that we will be doing. So yes, we're doing plushies. They're in the semi office already. So they let us know that they would like us, we have the window from 2 to 4:30. So even though I had them went to me from 3 to 5, like 3 and beyond, I would like people to let us know if they're able to be there at 2 p.m. And also, once again, a reminder to please fill it out if you're available. Only 2 people are available to start setting up. That includes Maria and I. I don't think we can do it, the 2 of us.
Food for finals?
Of Roadrunner After Dark. So if you haven't done it, we would really appreciate signing up if you're available. If not, that's okay. We need all hands on deck. And then food for finals, now that it's approved, we'll get that going on. It is on May 11th and 12th. Please sign up for that event as well. And then finals study session that is happening next Monday after our TSAC meeting, where we'll be at the library just providing snacks. Also sign up for that. That's more kind of like easy, so we don't need that many people, if that's okay. I think that's okay with the people that's already there. But especially Roadrunner After Dark this Wednesday and food for finals. We need as many people as possible. That's it.
William.
I have a direct I guess, question for you. Can you send us well, I guess we could look at it. I will ask that accountability look into the names of who's not responding to you. And then we'll reach out to those people. Try to get that engagement for you.
No, thank you.
Yeah. At least a response, like,
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. I'll go for budget, obviously, it's pretty quick, we just really had a whole conversation about our budget, so we had a successful reconsideration. Thankfully enough, we had assistance from everybody, maybe we got together, decide our budget wants to look like moving forward. We're currently waiting on some receipts, but things do seem pretty on par. We just asked for the fund managers who are in charge of it just to look over their budgets, make sure everything's falling well. That way we can reconvene. Likewise, we'll have a discussion later in our chat, or maybe sometime later, see if we would need to have another meeting, but as of right now, there's not a schedule. Other than that. Zach?
There are $13,000 in receipts we're still looking for. That's just, some of them are big ticket items, so like it's not that many receipts. Just FYI.
I'm like, what?
Little bit of a.
There are quite a few receipts. I mean, they're entered in Workday, they're just not entered in our budget. So,
Oh,
like,
okay.
We're still looking for those, and so like you can be working on all of that, so just
I'm like, oh,
FYI, receipts matter, so we're gonna get that in there, just keep that.
$13,000.
Started.
That was the scariest.
Don't do that.
Seeing as your accountability,
Yeah.
is there any more
I know.
advisory committee updates?
We know chairs, the president's cabinet. I mean, that's.
They got canceled.
It's canceled? Beautiful.
The next president's cabinet is canceled?
I mean, she's not gonna be here.
Oh, for next year.
Oh, okay.
But there's one in May, isn't there?
On Teams. Oh, well, it's 5:30.
Okay.
So is there a motion?
Motion to
Adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any opposition?
I
Oh, come on. All in favor?
really appreciate it. That was good.
In our meeting with the sea pines.
Okay.
I can let you
So
all
much.
this PM.
Oh,
You want to talk.
Yeah, it's
Even some-
and listen to the debate before you.
Someone should just tell the other about that. Since most of them
Oh, yeah, some